All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here again, talking about real music and real things, doing it in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, Brian May has gotten a perfect score on his test and now has to basically lay low and chill out for a little while. He says he's doing okay, but he had a few really horrible days. Those were the words he used. All right. And of course, Brian, a big advocate of the QR code, of going to Walgreens and going to CVS and whatever other pharmacies are over in the UK. He's a strong proponent of that. And he certainly attacked a few musicians, and one, of course, by the name of Eric Clapton. Sorry to bring Eric into every video. But he just mocked other people who didn't believe in the things that he believes in. And now it's a little bit ironic. And saying, too, that he had a real horrible time with this kind of shows that, folks, we have to get a grip on reality. All right. And the article, of course, that I'm reading this from basically goes on to blame Boris Johnson for all the problems. You know what's funny? And I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson, right? But nobody ever blames the hospitals, right? Nobody looks at the medical community and says, so 150 people have succumbed to the thing in the UK over the course of this thing-demic, right? That's what they claim here. Now, I would probably take issue with that number, but for the sake of argument, let's give them that number and say yes. Wouldn't people start to look into the healthcare system rather than looking at politicians who are not doctors? Okay, so they cut and paste this statement that Brian May apparently made back last year, saying that Boris Johnson's handling of the thing-demic over the last year, at every point he did too little, too late. And that was an article, I guess, from The Independent, where Brian May said this. Now, this is the interesting thing about Brian May. So he's a full-blown critic of all this. But now he's writing this. May wrote, along with a photo of his A+ on the test, he said, the dreaded double red line. Gee, I didn't know what the dreaded double red line meant, but now we do. Your teacher in high school probably went like this a couple of times and said that you had gotten an F on your test. But here, Brian got an A+. And he goes, and yes, definitely no sympathy, please. It has been a truly horrible few days. He goes, but I'm okay. All of these people love to kind of pull themselves up and say, I'm okay. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. He goes on to say, and I will tell the tale. Please take extra care out there. So, Brian, what other extra care can you take? Can you be specific? He says, please take extra care out there, good folks. This thing is easy, much like a present at Christmas, like when you give a gift to somebody. He's basically saying, these are presents that are really easy to give to other people. But wait, Brian, didn't you do the thing? Didn't you go to Walgreens and CVS? Didn't you do your due diligence? But yet, it's really easy to give this as a gift to other people. You really do not want it messing up your Christmas. How about your life, Brian? How about your entire existence? Never mind Christmas. How about the long-term impact of being inside and not going out? How about the lack of sunshine and human contact? Oh no, did I say human contact? Foul. All right. Scratch that. You don't want to talk to people if you don't have to. Believe me, you don't want to have to talk to people these days because people have become completely unhinged. And one of the reasons people have become unhinged is this. this lunacy of do this and this will stop that, but then I got this and now it didn't stop that. So then I have to explain to the world why I have it, and I'm going to have a tale to tell. Yet this other guy who did it and didn't go the way he wanted to, and he's out there basically telling his story. No, shut up. Shut up. Don't tell anybody. Just keep it inside so more and more people will go out and do the thing. Huh? So this is what we're supposed to do to our fellow human beings. We're supposed to just isolate them, keep them from information, explain one portion of the story, and then explain away the other part of the story and tell everybody who believes something different that they're basically a lunatic. I can't keep up with this stuff anymore. I don't understand it. It's not logical. Brian May should be saying and questioning things now. He should be saying things like, hey, I did everything I was supposed to do. In fact, I was yelling at other people who weren't doing those things. I would say at this point, maybe we need to do an investigation. Maybe we need to look into these healthcare systems that are likely being financed by certain companies who have a financial interest. What? That's critical thinking. No, everybody has my best interests at heart. Everybody loves me. Everybody wants me to be healthy and have a full recovery and live a long, prosperous, and healthy life, right? Everybody does. Of course, big corporations love me, right? They don't look at me as just a statistic or somebody who's going to buy a product or be forced to buy a product. Folks, we are in some dark times where even when something goes wrong like this, you still aren't exposed to the truth. They cut and paste how bad and evil Boris Johnson is. I don't like Boris Johnson. He seems like, this stumbling, bumbling dictator, and he's not dictating enough, according to these people. Well, and they said something very interesting. They said, well, last year Boris could have locked the country down, which also meant closing down the borders in 2020. So closing the borders, I thought in 2020 was xenophobic, but now in 2021, it's not xenophobic. How is that possible? What happened? Well, the crisis got worse. So yes, we need to do everything possible, including being as xenophobic as possible. Again, these people, they don't make any sense, but it's bad for the orange guy, right? And then you got Boris, who didn't do it, probably heard what the press said about the orange guy and said, no, I can't do that. And now they're impugning this guy because he didn't do it. You can't make this stuff up. And there's no way for you to be right, no matter what you do. I would say, you know what? I'm the prime minister or I'm the president of this country, depending on what country it is, depending on what form of government it is. And you say something like, you know what? I'm going to try to appoint people who know what they're talking about. And I'm going to trust the medical professionals. And I'm going to try to recruit the best people to determine what we ought to do. And then I'm going to push it on them. For Brian May or anybody to go after a politician who knows nothing about healthcare, and yes, I understand they have to be a leader and they have to do these things, but shutting down the border, that's kind of a job for the president and for the parliament or the legislature, or, you should pass a law rather than do these decrees or executive orders. The United States is being destroyed by the executive order because it's unconstitutional. And, Trump wanted to close the border, and then they're like, no, you can't. Yes, I can. And that went back and forth back. And by the time it could have made any difference, the horse was already out of the barn at that point. So I don't understand people saying, well, it was a victory. Well, maybe later on it was a political victory, but because you had this politically correct, crazy media. And by the way, Brandon is doing this now. He's closing things down. He's not letting people come in from what, like South Africa, and that would be, if Trump did that, he'd be racist, he'd be xenophobic, there'd be all of these different things that they would call him. But yet Brandon can do it, and wow, he's on the job. He's doing a great job. But no, while everybody's examining what the politicians are doing or not doing, the healthcare system is getting away with literal MURDER, literally. Because they're not doing their job, because they should be better than this. They should be, but nobody is pointing fingers at them. There are a few smart people here in the United States, the underground alternative people that you can't really talk to, the people that get banned or censored off of things, and then they find new places to hang out, and then they want to ban and censor those people in those locations. So anyway, I do think it's a bit ironic that Brian May scored super high on his thing test. And I'm not sure if he's going to isolate, doesn't say what he's doing. I don't think he had any gigs scheduled. I think he can lay low. Most of these guys who are older, they can lay low and they don't have to be out in public. They don't even have to make statements. The fact that he issued this statement, which was dangerous because it went against the narrative, was actually a pretty good thing for him, because it shows that, at least he's telling people the truth about his own situation. He's being transparent, but that goes against everything that he talked about. And if you're on the other side of the equation, like you're the guy who ran the Daystar channel, or you're Ted Nugent, or you're somebody who has been preaching one thing, and then something bad happens, then see, we told you so. We were the smart ones. You're the stupid one. But in the case of Brian May, there's no mention of the fact that, wow, maybe we should go back to the drawing board. Nobody does that. So in any event, just more observations by me. Brian May, still a great guitarist. We wish Brian May a full and speedy recovery and great health for the foreseeable future. And, you got Adam Lambert out there. You should go on tour and cheer some people up. That's what I would do. And, if you need to go out in a hermetically sealed container, then that's what you got to do. And if you still get the thing, then it shows you that the thing is just going to do its thing.